sabi ng Pangulo, when it comes to the arbitral ruling, that's just a piece of paper. Let's face it, I'll just throw that away. Not even cast it aside, throw it away. Now, it's easy to make memes about that, and it's easy for people to even be shocked about it. But what does it actually mean anything in law? Does it stand, I mean, the president's line, I mean, does it mean anything in international law?
When the president says that the arbitral ruling is a waste, is a scrap of paper, it deserves to be thrown to the wastebasket, that could be interpreted as abandonment, as a rejection of the ruling. And there is a principle in international law. It's called the unilateral declaration principle. If the head of state says something against the interest of the state, and the other country accepts it, the first state is bound by the statement of its president, because the president is the authority as far as international is concerned. The president speaks for the country, and when the president speaks, he binds the country. So there is that principle. If the president says something against the interests of his state, and the other state accepts it, even if it's verbal, it is binding on the first state. So we could be bound by that statement if that statement is interpreted as abandonment, waiver of the award. And that's very dangerous, because this has happened several times in international law. The foreign minister, because the principal spokespersons of a state is the head of state and the foreign minister. The foreign minister of Norway said it will not object to Sweden exercising sovereignty over Eastern Greenland. Verbal. Later on, the tribunal said that is binding. That verbal statement against the interest of Norway is binding on Norway.
Okay.
So what you are telling me now is that what Harris said this morning was that when the president said that ruling is just a piece of paper to be thrown to the wastebasket, the president was stating the position of China, not the position of the Philippines.
Yung context
is that correct?
Yes. Yun daw yung context ng statement.
You know, this morning I called up the DFA. I told them, you better clarify that we are not abandoning the ruling, because we will be bound by that. China will immediately accept that statement, patay tayo. We cannot get out of that. And I think that's the reason why Harry Roque had to qualify that what the president was saying was actually, he was restating the position of China. But why would the president of the Philippines restate the position of China and not restate our position?
Actually, sir, I think a big part of the confusion comes from the fact that, for example, Lorenzana and Locsin lately have been issuing increasingly stronger statements on the West Philippine Sea, which do appear to run counter to the president's own statements. However, from Locsin and Lorenzana's point of view, wala naman daw contradiction between what they're saying and what the president is saying. So parang medyo magulo eh. Si Digong parang mabait sa China, pero si Lorenzana handang mang-away. You might end up with the argument from some sectors saying that baka it's a good cop, bad cop routine, wherein the president tries to pacify China, but he lets loose his defense secretary or his foreign secretary.
Well, my take here is that Locsin and Lorenzana are patriotic people. They want to protect Philippine sovereignty and sovereign rights. But they're worried. They might be fired by the president if they go all out. So they have to walk a tightrope here. So that's why you see these seemingly confusing statements. But whenever they can, they will assert our sovereignty, Lorenzana and Locsin. But sisitahin sila, like sinita si Locsin, oy, be careful with your language. Only the president can curse.
Yeah.
So, yun.
Yeah.
They have having a hard time. I really sympathize with them because their heart are in the right place, but their boss, the heart of their boss, has goes for President Xi Jinping. Sabi ni Duterte, I love President Xi Jinping. So yung puso ni Presidente na kay Xi Jinping wala sa atin So, there is this problem now. But they have to, the statements of Lorenzana and Locsin are good if they assert sovereignty. But when they backtrack, they better be careful because the foreign minister can bind the country also.